at the Peacock the Printmaker studio today, and we're finding out all about Heather, who is the Peacock the Printmaker. So hello, and thank you for having me in studio. And
right.
I have now got my photograph, the official photograph of Be More Peacock. So we just come along to have a look at your studio and to find out more about you and more about your business. Now, I know a little bit of your story, but a lot of people probably didn't realise that you used to be a teacher
For 17 years.
So can we tell everybody that transition of being a teacher into becoming a full-time artist?
It's a very different life I lead now. I was a primary teacher for 17 years, which every time I say it just seems a little bit bonkers. I don't feel like I've been alive long enough for that to be the case.
I've got a 25-year-old son. I'm not old enough for that.
Now, we'll ignore the numbers.
Ignore numbers, yeah.
But I got into teaching because I loved working with kids, and I did primary teaching because I loved the whole spectrum of subjects and topics and being really creative with all of that. Absolutely adored working with the primary age kids. Did more of my work towards the end of my teaching career with the younger kids who have no filter, and I really love that. It's just like, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to say. And the printmaking just started really as a hobby.
Right.
So when my daughter was about 1.5 years, we went to Ousburn Open Studios and ended up in Northern Print. And it didn't take very long for me to just lose my family and become completely absorbed in it. But it reignited something that I had kind of neglected for quite a long time. So I'd always been artistic when I was little. Even through my degree, I did my art specialism. When I was teaching, I loved teaching art, but I never made anything for myself for quite a few years. And I realised after having my daughter that I really needed something for myself again.
Right.
Because you just get into this headspace of I am mum and everything I am is about being mum. Which it has to be for a little bit of time, but I needed something for myself, and I found printmaking at that Ousburn Studios. I sort of dabbled with it during my A-levels and my degree, but never really given it much time. And I came away so excited, went out and found a sketchbook and just started filling it with all these ideas, sketches, bought myself a lino print kit, and just had a go. I would sit, it's a terrible idea, but I would get a tray and I would sit on the sofa while we were watching telly, hunched over. So I'd end the night with this terrible backache and fingers like the claw from holding the tools. But it was just completely absorbing. And then I completely took over the kitchen, which my husband loved, that it was like covered in ink, and then every available surface was drying prints. And friends and family started asking me if I would make specific prints for them. So it started with commissions, really, thinking about it in terms of a business. But it took at least a year before I thought about it as a viable thing to sell, because I was just doing it for my mates.
Were you an art teacher, or what kind of teacher were you?
I was a primary teacher, so I had my class and I would teach them all the subjects. But I was the art coordinator on a lot of the schools that I worked in, particularly towards the end of my career. I led art across 5 different sites and went and did outreach with other schools, working on their curriculums and things like that. And I had so much passion for these kids being able to access the arts.
You weren't doing it yourself?
No, I wasn't doing it myself. I just wasn't practicing what I preached. But the more I got into it, and then lockdown came, and I was like, right, okay, well, I've got a bit of time here, and I joined a business club and sort of thought, is this something I could turn into a job? By which time I was working part-time anyway, so I kind of was doing both alongside each other.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that, don't they? You've got the security of a part-time wage while you're growing your business.
Definitely. It's a great way to do it, and also there's a lot of teachers that have left teaching and started a business. It's alarming how many there are. But it just got to a point where I just felt this really big pull that I needed to do the printmaking and the workshops, and that was where I needed to be now. it felt that was more aligned with who I was. And the time just came when I had to make the jump, which was scary.
It is. I think going from employment to self-employment, I think anybody that's gone on that road knows how scary it is, because you're not guaranteed that
This
wage.
is it. You've got to completely change the way you think about money. You've got to relearn how you operate as a human being, because you've been so used to being told how to do everything and given you jobs and whatever, whereas now you've just got to do all of the things yourself. But at the same time, that makes it all the more rewarding, because you are doing it all yourself. You've made this thing, it's like a whole new baby, and you're putting it out there, and it's I feel as if I've got a third child. Kids keep on saying, even I think when you're so passionate about your businesses, because we've had businesses, print and embroidery and stuff, but when we started Mayfly, it was definitely that third baby, and the kids realised it. They're going, I'm not enjoying this, not getting this attention now. But when you feel that passion, it is like your baby, isn't it? Definitely.
So what's been the biggest creative roadblock you faced, and how did you overcome it?
So definitely lockdown.
Right.
Lockdown was a real, I mean, let's face it, it was a downer for everybody, but it completely sucked any inspiration out of me, because we were trapped and you could only go out for an hour, and everyone knows how it was. So I just didn't feel like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I ran out of ideas. I'd been dabbling with interior design trends and things like that. Flamingos were big for a while, and then it was this, and then it was that. But my heart wasn't really in that. So my husband said, you need to set yourself a challenge. You need something that you're going to make every month, and it'll just keep you going. I don't like to admit that he was right, but he was right. Please never show him this recording. But
sorry, that's not the point.
So then I put out on my social media that I was going to make a new body of work, and I really wanted to know what people wanted me to create, and somebody suggested seasonal flowers, and I thought, you know what, that's perfect, because it means that I can look at what's seasonal every single month and create a new piece. And if that's all I do in the month, I draw it, I carve it, I print it, that's fine, but at least I'm making something.
Right.
So it got me back into the swing of things, and soon enough I was thinking, oh God, I've not done this month's flower because I've been doing all these other things, and it kind of had that knock-on effect. So I think you've really just, when you get stuck in that creative rut, and we all do, even like massively successful artists who are all over the media and stuff, they still get stuck in a creative rut. You've just got to do something.
I know. I honestly, when I see artists creating, I'm creative, but I look for inspiration, and I copy, and not copy, but I'm not an artist. But when you see people creating something from nothing, I was like, how have you brought that? Obviously it's not from nothing because you've got the inspiration, but even from inspiration, how have you done that? I think it's amazing.
When I first started out thinking about it as a business, I was like, but what if I run out of ideas? And now I'm like, but I don't have enough time to make all the things. So yeah, it's really not the problem that I thought it was going to be.
Right. If you could bottle up a feeling you get while creating, what would it smell like?
I love this. My initial instinct is that it would smell of sea air, because that's where I go to get my inspiration for the artwork. But also, because I get this sort of fizzy, really excited feeling when I'm peeling it back, I was thinking, you know, like the Fizzers sweets.
Oh, yes.
I was so addicted to them when I was little. I used to put a whole packet in my mouth at the same time. So cool.
I never thought
so I think it would be a mixture between the sea air, the Fizzers, but also you could throw in a bit of Roald Dahl's fizzy lifting drink, because I feel really like lifted and bouncy when I've been doing my printmaking or doing the workshops. It just gives me that uplifting sort of
I think that has to be
thing.
For one of the candle makers on Mayfly. I think that has to be a smell challenge.
I would love that. Yeah.
Fizzy Ocean, there's a challenge.
Yeah, Fizzy Ocean.
Fizzy Ocean, there's a challenge.
I will buy that candle. I'll do the labels for that candle as well.
That would be. Oh, right, okay, we've just started another candle smell for one of the sellers on Mayfly. If you could exhibit your work anywhere in the world with no limitations, where would it be and why?
Right, so this is going to sound really small to start with, but I absolutely adore the Biscuit Factory.
Right.
Which is part of the reason why I have a studio within the Biscuit Factory
I was going to say
Foundation.
the Biscuit Factory is literally next door.
Exactly.
So,
these studios are owned
do you
by
want to explain where your studio is? Because you do workshops as well.
I do. So my studio is in the Ousbourne Valley. It's called B-Box Studios, which is part of the Biscuit Factory family. Now, all around this area, they've got loads of different studios. There's B-Boxes, there's Biscuit Tin, there's the studios in the gallery itself. And they really champion local artists and independent makers. I just think it's a wonderful space, and I love going into their print area because there's just one long room and it's full of the most gorgeous prints, and it's etching, it's lino prints, it's monotypes, there's all different kinds, loads of different themes and things, but it's just really beautiful to see the same kind of techniques used in loads of different ways. Also, I keep getting emails about this. I think it would be totally fabulous to have a piece of work this is going to sound really poncy, in the Venice Biennale. So every 2 years, Venice put on this enormous art sort of festival, I suppose it is.
Right.
And like every museum and every available space is used to celebrate art on some sort of theme. And obviously with the water being there, it would be really beautiful. But mostly I just want my artwork to be in people's homes so that they can enjoy it, get joy from it, be inspired, and sort of enjoy that nostalgia of
that you've made somebody's day.
Exactly.
They appreciate it.
And it gives, I think, one of the really powerful things about art is that it is an emotional thing. And it also brings back those memories. When I'm doing pictures of the sea, I am thinking about like the day I went to the sea and drew that picture, or holidays that I had by the sea with my family and things like that. There's such a nostalgic thing. And yeah, I think it's really important to have that sort of nostalgia surrounding you in your home.
It is beautiful. I do like the sea. I do like your flowers. I like all of it. I'm biased. That's why you're on my flight. What piece are you most proud of selling, and what story does it tell?
Right, we have to go back a few years for this. So there was a market that I did at a brewery in the local area, and I hadn't been selling my work at markets for very long. I'd mostly just sold to friends and family, and like my confidence selling was probably non-existent.
It's very personal when you're selling artwork, isn't it? Because it's, I think
you're putting a piece of your soul out there on show. It's like feels very exposing. But there was this one gentleman that came and he really latched onto my peacock print, the one where the peacock's in the middle and then there's the pattern all the way around the outside, and it's got this little cheeky glint in it. And he was looking for a piece of artwork for his son's new home.
Right.
He said he wanted it to be really special. He loved that it was a limited edition of only 10. He loved even more the fact that the first one of the edition was on sale. And he went for a little wander around the market. That's what I do. I look at stuff and I go back round and I buy. And right at the end of the market, he came over and he said, I need that print.
Oh, wow.
And it was the first one that I'd sold to someone who wasn't a member of my family or in my friendship group. And it just felt really validating.
Yes.
And it was just really lovely that he didn't just pick it because it was the colour that goes with the house or whatever. He picked it because he connected with something in it.
Yes.
He was drawn to it, and that just felt really special.
Oh, that's fantastic, that. So if you've got that bit of artwork, we need to see it in the home now, don't we?
Absolutely. Oh, that would be lovely. I love seeing my artwork in people's home.
Send them through if you've got Heather's artwork in your home. If you could create a piece with any artist, living or dead, who would it be and why?
This one is really easy for me. So there's this incredible woman called Sarah Graham who we've had a piece of her artwork for about 11 years now, because we got it as part of our wedding list. And when we saw it, It was in a gallery in Milton Keynes, and immediately I was just like, this is incredible. So it's huge painting. It's like a metre square of 3 ice cream sundaes.
Oh, lovely.
And it's got kind of this depth to it where some of them go back because they're slightly blurry, and then there's this one and there's the glint on the glass and all the little chocolate chunks. It makes me...
I'll go for ice cream after this.
I know, you're gonna have to go for ice cream. But it's in the dining room, and as soon as we got it, it was like, when we have our house that's going in the dining room, I'm gonna make the room all about that piece. I've since bought more of her artwork. But in September, I was part of a big exhibition and charity project with her.
Right. Oh, wow.
I absolutely adore the colours that she uses. There's so much nostalgia in it as well. She's a really vibrant person. And it was a proper pinch me moment when she got in touch and she was like, I would love you to be part of this project.
Oh, fantastic.
So everybody had the same starting point, and it was called the Samaritans Project. She sent out a spray painted board, and we all had to put our own style on it, and then they all got auctioned off. We raised about £40,000 for the charity.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so that the Hearts branch of the Samaritans could have a whole new facility where they could have more volunteers and so impact more people. But she's just this incredibly inspiring woman. I cried all the way through her speech at the launch at the gallery. I'm quite an emotional person. I cry at nappy adverts. But it was a great speech. And she's been through a lot of difficulty in her life. She's battled with bipolar, and the Samaritans were there for her and supported her, and she wanted to give this back. But I just find it so inspiring that she's been through all those difficult times and she's still rocking it. And she's really honest about it. She's so authentic on her social media. And I just think it's wonderful. I really think that the way we both use colour in such a joyful way would marry so well
so
together.
How would you work?
Well.
Would it be the case of you coming together and do one bit of artwork, or would it just be you exhibit in the same space?
I'm happy with either.
So
both would be
if
incredible.
anybody's watching, there's 2 dreams we can make true. Exhibition next door in the biscuit factory, if you can make that happen, and if you can make that happen with what was it, Sarah Graham, make people's dreams come true. What inspired you? Because obviously you do workshops, and you're going to show me how to do a bit inking shortly, which I'm excited about. What inspired you to start offering the workshops?
It kind of just felt really natural, actually, because of my history with teaching and stuff. And I love seeing that kind of spark moment where people are like, oh, they have that intake of breath. They do that little dance when they peel back their first print, and they're just like, oh my God, this is amazing. So seeing that progression of someone over the space of just 2 hours, where they come in and they're like, oh, I can't really draw, I'm not very artistic. I just thought I'd have a go because I used to enjoy art at school. And then they go out and they're like, look at these beautiful prints that I've made. This is amazing. I'm going to go buy a tool. I'm going to make more prints. And you just think, I get such a buzz out of sharing the passion, and I get to flex the teaching skills, but it's on my terms.
You do as you're told.
There'll be no telling off. It's it's lovely. It's just nice sharing that and giving people that buzz.
So going on about flexing the teaching skills, who is your ideal student for a workshop? Beginners, experienced, or artists?
I'm happy working with any, and I have worked with people that are experienced artists, and they might do watercolours quite a lot. But I think I get the biggest buzz out of when people come in and they've never tried it before, or they're like, oh, I did this at high school once and it was quite fun, but I've X number of years I've neglected that creative side of me. So it's really nice. I think you get a bigger sense of achievement because they've come in with totally blank page and they go out just inspired and buzzing, and
they've created something they're proud of that they could hang up on their wall.
There's a massive sense of achievement.
Yeah. Have you had any funny or memorable moments during a workshop?
Yeah, there is this.
Are you allowed to tell this story?
Yeah, no.
Okay,
It's fine. So
I'm intrigued.
There was this lady called Josephine who came along to one of my fabric printing workshops. Before I had my studio space, I used to rent out space in other places. And I'd never met her before. She just liked the sound of it. She'd seen a poster up and she came along. And within minutes, we were both like totally buzzing off of each other talking about peacocks because she was a gorgeous, quirky woman. And when she was in her birth country, she had peacocks and she raised them. And she was just telling me the funniest stories about the sounds they make when they're mating and like how horrendous that is. But like, she just was this font of knowledge. She gave me so many facts, most of which I've forgotten, but it was fascinating. And then another woman came in to do the workshop the same day, and a peacock had randomly just landed in her garden. So it became this sort of, while we were printing, this sort of peacock clinic. And it was just like completely absorbed by everything. And then, so Josephine, she's quite a creative person. You know, she liked to dabble in different crafts. And she made a peacock feather print, and we'd gone over, like, she'd done a flat colour and tried it out, and then we went over like different blends and things. And so she was like, oh, sod it, I'm just gonna have a go and see what comes out. And I've got this incredible video of her where she peels it back and she's like, yeah, dancing, and it was just like, yeah, that's so cool. It just fantastic. Was a really beautiful atmosphere, and yet it was just the most random thing that like we were all mental peacock.
Where did Peacock and the Printmaker come from? Just when you're talking about peacocks and that, I was like, I haven't even asked you where that name came from.
Yeah, it used to make a bit more sense because I mainly used to print peacocks, but that's not even where it comes from. So when we were really little, me and my little brother and my mum and dad, on a Sunday afternoon, quite often my dad would get his kit car out of the garage, unclip the roof and leave it in the garden, and then we'd get in the car, like wind blowing in our faces, like, you know, all over the place, and we'd go to a place called Walton Gardens. So I'm from the northwest, so it's kind of similar to Jesmond Dean in Newcastle, and it had its version of Pet's Corner, and that sort of petting zoo was a couple of peacocks, and I was just totally absorbed by these peacocks. I would just sit and stare at them for ages until I was told I had to move. My brother would like race around and look at all the other, he was chinchilla obsessed and all the rest of it, but I would just sit and be completely fascinated by the complete audacity of these birds to just be like, yeah, I'm here, I'm totally in your face, come see me.
I know,
they're just such show-offs. So I don't want to be a show-off, but I try to embody some of that kind of confidence and sort of, you know, strut your stuff. You've got to be more peacock. You need to, like, you've got stuff to offer. Let's put it out there.
Yeah.
So
I love that, be more peacock.
It's kind of my, I don't know. Yeah, it's my little mascot, really, more than anything.
Yeah.
You know, don't be all shy.
We've got
Get your feathers out.
I know, because I think, and it's funny because at the very beginning you were saying how you enjoyed working with primary school because they've got no filter.
Yeah.
You know, and I think as we get older, then filters come up.
Definitely.
And whereas peacocks, they're just like, remove all the filters.
Exactly.
And this is
so
who I am.
Just go for it. Like, I think the older we get, the more we sort of learn that we should fit into a certain mould, or we need to like strip back sort of the more in your face side of us, and I'm very much going through the opposite of that process. And being like, this is me, I am big and I'm colourful, I am loud, I'm a little bit sweary, that's who I am, that's what you're getting.
I probably learn a lot from you because you are, when you're on camera, you are very confident. You do a lot of reels and stuff. But I think as business owners, and me and Vino were just talking about from Dire Wellness, because we did an event at the beginning of the week, is because it's your business, it's so personal to you. And when you're talking about your business, to a lot of business owners, it's very personal, and you're not going to be everybody's in English. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and it's having that, I suppose, putting some filters on to protect yourself.
Yeah.
But then also being the peacock and saying, well, this is who I am, and I might not be your cup of tea.
No, I mean, as a business owner, you get to set your own boundaries. So, you know, if you don't want to, I don't share much about, I never put a photograph of my daughter online because, you know, that is my boundary, is like, she's not part of it.
Yeah.
Yes, I talk about being a mum and stuff like that, but she can decide if she wants to be
a part of it. Exactly.
And, you know, so there are certain boundaries, and one of the nice things about running your own business is that you get to decide but also, you know, thinking about, no, you're not everybody's cup of tea, but that's good.
Yeah.
Because then you know who you're speaking
Exactly.
to. I have people that
come for you.
Yeah, they come for me. They like
Yeah.
me. They buy a piece of me when they take away a piece of artwork. So if they don't like me, they're not going to like my artwork. I'm no wallflower.
No. Where are we? Is there any advice you'd give to somebody who's considering taking a workshop?
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
It doesn't have to be mine, but whatever. You know, if you are considering doing anything creative, just do it. Don't think about, I'm not ready yet, or I can't do this, or it's not perfect. Perfect is a lie to start with.
Nothing's perfect.
No such thing as perfect. So just do it, learn from it, make mistakes if in fact there is such a thing in art, which I don't really think there is, and grow, because if you never start, you never get to experience the joy.
Yeah.
So you've just got to jump in and give it a go.
I've done a few. I haven't done your workshop yet, but I am going to experience it shortly. Yeah. But I've done a couple of workshops and I've really enjoyed it, and it's going along, and there are new people that I've met when you're at the workshop, and we've all, you know, what have you put in that, and can I have a smell of
you all
yours,
feed off of each other.
Yeah, and it's just, especially I think since lockdown, you know, everything people moving on to more technical stuff. Yeah, we're losing that. Yeah, and that's why I think that's so special about workshops now, is getting that connection back into other people and connecting into whatever the workshop's about.
I mean, it's connection with other people, it's connection with yourself. Like, so many people have got this inner creativity that's kind of like hiding away because either they were told at school they were no good at it, or they just haven't got time for it. So yeah, and doing things with your hands, it unlocks a completely different experience. It's like, so many of us spend time in front of a screen for the vast majority of our jobs, and I sit in front of a screen more than I would like to, because, you know, websites don't build themselves.
You're not, but you've got to be on.
I've got to get out there,
social media and websites.
But doing that sort of physically engaging with the materials, responding to colours and textures, and creating something, it's a real healer. Yeah.
Right. So I'm asking everybody at the end. So you know some of the businesses on Mayfly personally. Yes. Because obviously you're in the Northeast, and we've got Northeast businesses. And you've obviously seen products on Mayfly. Who's your favourite product? What was your favourite product on Mayfly?
So hard to choose. So I've done a few markets with Phil Benton. And I have had the absolute pleasure of hearing his many stories about his trips out, and like, you can, as he's telling these stories and you're looking at his photographs,
you can imagine him.
The hilarity. If I could be a fly on the wall watching Phil taking these photographs. He told me about this one where him and his partner were just driving through Scotland, I think it was. She was driving, luckily, and he had hold of the camera, and they spotted a stag just by the side of the road.
I know the photograph you're talking about now.
And he wound the window down. He didn't even have time to stop for very long. And he was just like, captured this stag, and it's just looking like...
I know the photograph you're talking about.
And it looks right down the lens that year. And it's like, it's just such a weird experience. You look at this photograph and it's like you're looking into the soul of the stag.
I absolutely love that photograph.
It just blows my mind how he captures it. And he was telling me this other story about the squirrels that he took a photograph of. And he was sat on this log and a squirrel came along, and he just kept placing nuts all the way along. And eventually the squirrel came right up to me, and he's got this one of it like eating the nut right up close. Yeah. It's mad.
It's amazing how he gets the photographs. That stag, I absolutely love that photograph. And we'll ask the editor guy to put the photograph on the video so you can see it as well. And then is it Lean on Me with the Highland cow and its baby and its mum?
That's so cute.
Oh, I know.
He captures such amazing stories in his photograph.
He is amazing. Yeah. Right, okay. I've got one more for you.
Okay.
So, what question would you like me to have asked you that I haven't asked you?
I guess, can I buy your print, please?
Is that too cheeky?
No, I'm going to say it.
I'll about your print, please. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time today. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys have as well. Heather is amazing. Our artwork is amazing. If you do live in the northeast, check on Mayfly because she has our workshops on there as well. You've got a few coming up as well, haven't you?
Yeah, trying to do
Throughout
one
the
a
year.
month.
Obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know when this video is going to be going out, but just check in or give her a message if you're wondering when they're going to be coming up. So now we're going to get dirty and get some inks out, and you can see that it'll be playing throughout the reel. But thank you so much for your time.
That's all right.
And see you guys later. Bye. I wasn't expecting that.
Neither was I, so shall I say it? I'm going to say it.
Love it.
Why the hell not? Right, I'm going to make a potato.